Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, located in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, it's old Cody over here. And as always, I have my co-host with me, Mr. Rodeo historian himself, Jimbo Snively. Hey, Jimbo, who do we got today? And what's going on, man?
Hey, Cody boy, it's just another great day in Osage, man. Cody, we got the big Ben Johnson days coming up. And on the 17th and 18th, we've got the WRCA Rodeo is coming back. We had it last year. It really went over good, and we expect a bigger and better one this year. And we've got the association manager, Mr. Leman Wall, with us today, and he's going to tell us all about it. And we're going to talk about what it takes to put on a rodeo and what this one's going to consist of, and no telling what else we're going to get into. But anyway, Leman, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
Hey guys. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're sure glad to have you.
Oh yeah. We don't have too many big shots, leads heads of an association on. So normally we just got the contestants on, but it's always good to hear right from the top on this stuff, Leman. So
Cody, after today, you still will have not had any big shots on. So
well, maybe that's your opinion on that deal.
No, I tell you, it's I got to come last year, Cody, as you know, and my first trip up into that country, all the way up in, and just what a beautiful place you guys live in, both from the country and the people, some of the greatest people I've been around. And Cody and I've got a neat story about my situation last year. I had a little truck problem, and everybody was jumping in and helping me out, and I really appreciate that. It just kind of goes and reminds everybody of the good people that are still left in this country. So I really appreciate everything everybody did last year to help me out personally. And then from the event standpoint, for a group of people that put on their first WRCA sanctioned ranch rodeo, it was awesome. Great venue, great event, great crowd, great trade show. And we're just excited to be a part of it. Look forward to year 2.
Thank you, Leman. Those are kind words coming from a guy like that, Jimbo.
Well, we thank a lot of our people here in this country, but it's nice to hear it from somebody else too,
We always knew we were some of the best ranching country and the best folks around.
Right.
You bet.
Absolutely.
I can attest to that, gentlemen. I can attest to that.
Even something I found interesting when I was doing a little research was that Waddy Mitchell founded the WRCA back in 1995.
That's exactly right. We were fortunate a couple of years ago to celebrate 25 years of WRCA and the World Championship Ranch Rodeo. And so when we went through that process of celebrating 25 years, we got to kind of go back in time and interview some of the older folks that have been a part of the event, some of the founders. And that was exactly what happened. Waddy was actually riding with some other guys, and they were just talking cowboy life. And the general consensus was that the Ranch Cowboy needed an organization to kind of have its back. And then they just started talking more. What does this look like? What would it mean? How would we do it? And 27 years later, here we are, and very fortunate to have had an organization that people gravitate towards. They think, it fits their lifestyle, and we just are blessed to get to promote and encourage people to be a part of the cowboy way of life. And one of the ways we do that is through these ranch rodeos. It's kind of the outward visible piece that people can relate to, and they can see it's a way to make money for our foundation, Cody, which I'd like to make sure we talk a little bit about the underlying reason why we started this organization years ago and why we do these events is to be a revenue source to give money back to the working ranch cowboy and their families. When those hard times occur, maybe, we've all seen the fires that happen around. We see blizzards, we see those kind of things. What you may not see is the cowboy that just gets a broke leg and is laid up for a few weeks, or you may not hear the stories of the child that's going through some form of an illness or something, or you may not hear the stories of the wife that's dealing with with something. And so those are the times that when we step in and are able to give a hand up to those folks, that all of this makes sense. That's why we're doing this, is to give that money back into the hands of our people when they need it. So the fact that you guys are a part of that is really cool, and you're helping us accomplish that mission.
Well, we're a proud part of it too.
Right, absolutely. And I think it's just great that these cowboys they're not on the Cowboy Channel and stuff every night, and they can't get up and down the road and make a living, doing rodeo, but they're helping to feed us. Where would we be without them? And it's just great for them to have a place to showcase their talent and get out there in front of their wives and their kids and their grandparents and show what they can do. And I think that's just great.
I think it's just a matter of time before they probably show every single one of these WRCAs on the Cowboy Channel.
Right.
I mean, they show the World Championships, I believe, on one of the channels, and maybe one or two others. But I think it's just a matter of time. No more than they are of them.
Right.
That I think they might just become more of a mainstream event real soon. What do you think about that, Lehman?
We've actually had conversations with the Cowboy Channel about that. We've aired the World Championship now for a couple of years, and it's proven to be a well-watched event on that network. And we actually did air the Youth World Championship that we had in 2021. It aired recently on the Cowboy Channel. And I know that more of our sanctioned rodeos are actually working kind of from the side to get a hold of Cowboy Channel and maybe even other avenues that might exist. But Cody, I think you're right. The ranch rodeo world is starting to get more visible in that TV medium, and who knows, maybe there will be a day here soon when all of those ranch rodeos could be on the network.
Just looking over your schedule, Lehman, it looks like you're in 6 different states with 22 events. Are there any plans to expand into some of those other states?
There's always those plans out there, and we've got some things in the works. I hate to kind of jump the gun and talk about them before they actually happen, but that is exactly what WRCA looks for, is the foothold that we have in our current markets. Where can we take our brand to expand? And there's certainly Ranch Cowboys all over the West and Midwest. And so we are hopeful that as opportunities arise in a new state, we'll be right there and be able to capitalize on it.
So how does the format work when you enter one of these ranch rodeos, Lehman? On every winner of every one of your sanctioned rodeos, do they get an automatic berth into the World Championships in Amarillo? Or is that just certain rodeos?
That is the way that works. When we put the WRCA sanctioned title on an event, what that ultimately does mean is that the winner of that event would receive an invitation to compete at the World Championship. And some might say, well, why do you have 22 to 24 events? Why not more? And the answer to that is not because we don't want to sanction more, and it's not because we don't have more events that are there to sanction. It is really a limiting factor based on, and as you guys know, when you're putting on events, and if you want to put on an event that's crowd friendly and you can sell a ticket to, you have a certain window of time. You can run that event in a neighborhood of 2.5 hours. If you go over 2.5 hours, you might as well just count your crowd gone. And that's purely from an entertainment standpoint. So we can put 24 ranch teams in the arena in Amarillo, Texas, and put on a 2.5-hour event. You go past that, Cody, that's where we have troubles with our numbers. So really we are limited by 24 teams because of running a world championship that's just not too long. And so we're currently doing some things where there's other events around the country that are cowboy related. They fit our culture, but we can't sanction them because of that limiting factor. So we started a program called WRCA endorsed. We have WRCA sanctioned, that equals invite to the World Championship. But now we have WRCA endorsed, which means we and that event feel like we have a like-minded mentality, cut from the same cloth, cowboy nature, cowboy types events. And we endorse that, and it gives us an opportunity to promote that event outward and also take advantage of some exposure for WRCA through that event. So that's where we hope we'll see more growth with some other events around the country that may not be able to fit in that sanction model, but we can still create a relationship with them.
Leman, these individual rodeos scattered across these 6 states, do you limit how many teams do you try to get for those? About the same, or do you?
It's really up to the people putting on the rodeo.
I see.
So they're with what you guys are doing at the Ben Johnson days. The format you got a lot of options. Ben Johnson days chose a 2-day, 2-go-round rodeo. And, you could do the same thing. How many teams, how many ranches do we want to have here based on our performance schedule and everything we're doing? And Cody, I'm not for sure. I don't remember. Is it 14, 16? How many do y'all take?
Well, we took 12 each night, 12 Friday night, 12 Saturday night, Lehman, and the fastest run on your 5 wins, no matter if it's Friday night or Saturday night, just like any rodeo across the United States that goes on during the summer or anytime. So,
okay. So it is a single go round. I misspoke earlier. It's not a 2-go round.
well, next year we're looking at a 2-go-round format. But this year we just have to get through this year again with the format that we had. We wanted to take as many teams as possible, Lehman, to this one because there's so many teams in our geographical area right here. And we didn't want to exclude anybody that if they got their paperwork done and got onto it on time, there was very high probability they were getting into our rodeo, which is now filled up. We already have a waiting list to get in the rodeo out of 24 teams. So
Wow.
There's a handful of teams that, I was on to everybody about getting their paperwork in, get your paperwork in because you got to get your paperwork in. And well, anyway, we got a full rodeo again.
Yeah.
We're also looking for some entries in the junior ranch rodeo. I think we got a few slots left in that. So it's going to be a good one.
Going back to that format. So I misspoke about the format of y'all's deal. There are people exactly what y'all are doing where you got 12 on Friday and 12 on Saturday. We've got a handful of rodeos that opt for that approach. Others do a 2-day where you may have 12 to 14. It's a 2-go round. We may have a 1-night rodeo where it's a one and done, and they may take anywhere from 12 to 16. So there's all sorts of formats. You have to at least have 10 WRCA teams to be a sanctioned rodeo. But from there, what exactly y'all did, you say, what fits our area, what fits our needs, what fits our ranch cowboys up here. And so we allow that to have a lot of flexibility. And we think that's the right way to do it because what works in Pawhuska, Oklahoma might be a touch different than, what is needed in Camp Verde, Arizona. So that's why we allow that flexibility.
And some rodeos, Jimbo, they only allow people from their state to enter, but we opened ours up to the entire nation. We wanted the best of the best here, right here in Pawhuska. Last year we had Buster Fryson's crew come in, JoJo Leman down from Texas, and several of the big, good ranches from around. So it was a real success last year, and we're looking real forward to it this year. Some of the best teams in the entire nation are going to be right here in Pawhuska, competing for their chance to make the World Championships.
Sounds great. Leman, when a WRCA sanctions a rodeo, are they hands-on producing that rodeo, or is it strictly local producers, or how does that work?
Good question. We rely on the good folks that wanted to put on that rodeo, Cody and his team, for example. The production of that rodeo is really in their hands. WRCA is here to support. We'll offer any help that we can, and hopefully we offer enough help, Cody, along the way. But really, we're here to kind of help and ensure that they have all the resources they need from our end. But the local community, the local committee, that it's really up to them to determine how to put that rodeo on. And we've kind of have what we'd call a set of basic guidelines, a set of, things that you have to do. But other than that, it's really up to that committee, Jimbo, to run that event how they seem fit.
Yeah, they do a good job with letting us do it the way we need to have it done. I came from a professional rodeo background, and, they pretty much detail out who you can hire for judges, who you can hire for announcers, who you can hire for stock contractors. There's a million different things that go into a PRCA rodeo, where they make this a little bit more user-friendly. And I do appreciate that about the guys. And, something else I noticed about the WRCA compared to the PRCA. So our rodeo, Jimbo, is 100% payback. Every single stitch of your entry fee gets paid right back to the Cowboys. So, in a PRCA rodeo, they hold out 21% of the pot, basically, at the end of the day, to pay for their association and a lot of other things, mainly the association fees, I think, is where it all goes back to, and the Procom entry system and stuff like that. Where we're able to pay back 100%. This thing's going to pay over $30,000 to everybody that wins a check, in total.
Wow.
So that's going to be, that's a great thing that I like about the WRCA. It seems like they just let their membership cards and stuff, that's what pays up for a lot of that, instead of taxing the Cowboys every time they put their money up. So
do the entry fees vary from rodeo to rodeo, or are they the same, Lehman?
So it varies. You're going to see certain areas are going to have a higher entry fee than others. And that's up to the individual committees. They deem what is appropriate for their area. And largely, if you're a 1 day or a 2 day, or how that works, some of that plays into what kind of entry fee you're going to choose.
Right.
We got some great judges from around here. Lehman, did you know that we got one of the first judge, I think, that for WRCA, he lives right here in Pawhuska, Kelly Corbin. He was at the very first one. I think he's been a big help to the WRCA through the years on his judging some things. So,
yeah, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kelly, you bet. I tell you what, he is part of WRCA's fabric, and he's judged the World Championship for a lot of years. He finally decided he wanted to kind of retire from that post, and so he stepped aside in that regard. But he is a great man and a great supporter of WRCA.
We got him recruited back for the top hand and top horse this year. So we drug him out of retirement, going to make him do a little work around here. Well, for once, I guess. For a while, he ain't been doing nothing because he's been about half retired for a while.
Well, yeah, I've known him since I was a little old kid, and he's a great friend of the museum here, and just a great guy, like you said.
Lehman, did you know that guy left his high school graduation and went and won the Cheyenne Frontier Days?
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Still the youngest average winner ever, isn't he?
Yeah.
The youngest average winner to ever win the Ben Johnson at 20.
Yeah, he was a great cowboy in his day.
Yep.
For sure. And this year, we brought one of your judges from the finals. Sam Minnick's coming back.
Oh, you got Sam. All right.
We're trying to get the best of the best around here, just trying to make sure that, at least the Cowboys are going to love these judges. They ought to, because they're the best we can hire. So,
and they've worked together a lot.
For sure. He knows his stuff in this ranch rodeo business.
That's right. They know what the other one's going to do before they even do it.
They sure do.
That's awesome.
For those out there that maybe have never seen a ranch rodeo, we've got 5 standard events: ranch bronc riding, team doctoring, wild cow milking, team branding, and team pinning. Do those events ever vary from rodeo to rodeo, Lehman, or is it just a
yes,
standard?
sir. They can. We've got in our rules, there's so many approved events that exist, and some of those can be interchanged for each other. So example, you mentioned doctoring. There's an event called Stray Gathering that's a different spin, but it's a similar event. And so those two can interchange for each other. And you've got sorting. So team pinning, you mentioned you're going to have team pinning, I believe, right? It was one of your events.
I'm not sure. I think we have ranch bronc riding, wild cow milking, sorting, not the double mugging, but the stray gathering, and did I say branding?
Did you say wild
Branding.
cow milking?
Branding at ours. That's our 5
Okay.
events.
Yeah. So there's a few events that interchange, like sorting and team pinning. You could have one or the other depending on what your area likes. And there's actually a couple of different opportunities in the branding, the traditional style, like we kind of know out in this country. And then there's maverick branding, which some areas choose to go with on their branding style.
What is the
And,
Maverick branding?
Maverick branding is a little bit more like what you might see out in the Arizona country and some out there. They'll head and heel, move the head rope to the front feet, and so you'll have that animal by the heels, and then they will have a team member run a brand and brand just like you would, but it's more kind of out in the open, chasing a maverick kind of concept. And one of the things they like to do is they'll head and heel, and then you'll move that head rope down to the front heels, and kind of a unique way that they do it in that part of the country. So a little different opportunity if somebody wanted to go that route. Usually a little bigger animal too.
What about the juniors? When did this come around?
So we started thinking about a youth junior concept 4 years ago. And what we did was we got a couple of board members that had an interest in that concept. And so down in Earth, Texas, Trip Townsend and Grant Mitchell are two of our board members. They started putting on a youth ranch rodeo down there just to kind of test out the waters, see what the interest was like, gave us an opportunity to kind of run through some rules and see how we wanted to run the events. And then we finally, at the World Championship, we had a window of time there during the daytime that opened up, and we said, right now is the time to put on the Youth World Championship Ranch Rodeo. And so 2021, we had 6 youth teams that qualified at a WRCA youth qualifier. They came to Amarillo and got to compete for the very first ever Youth World Championship title. And I tell you what, it was the greatest thing that we have ever done as an organization. The kids were just top notch, obviously very talented, but big personalities. And if you get a chance to ever watch that video that we put out on the Cowboy channel, my goodness, it'll just melt your heart to see our next generation out there doing what they do and showing you what they're made of. It was awesome. So this year we were able to go to 11 qualifiers. We almost doubled the number of youth qualifier events, and right there in Pawhuska is going to be one of those 11. And we're excited for that.
We're super excited. And, there's nothing more important for any sport, especially our way of life and our sport, is to keep the youth coming, keep them interested, keep them learning what we already seem to know. I don't think there's anything more important than that. Do you, Jimbo?
No, absolutely. And just like kids that came to the rodeo last year, they're going to dream of they may not be professional rodeo cowboys, they're going to dream of being at the ranch rodeo, maybe in the youth, and maybe later on, in the regular open rodeo,
Well, there's more kids that dream about going to the ranch rodeo in our community than dream about going to the NFR, roping, because this is a ranching community
right absolutely.
Here in ranch rodeos in the fabric around here.
And there were
Jimbo.
so many kids. I remember last year running around there, with their cowboy hats on, and that's got to be a dream of theirs to someday get out there and compete.
We hope it's a dream of theirs. We hope it is.
Yeah.
We've had younger members compete on our adult teams for years. In fact, a lot of the kids have grown up, and they might get that first opportunity they just get to ride in the grand entry. I mean, let's just start there, small enough where They're not going to get out in any of the events, and they ride in the grand entry, and they get that they see their parents, their mom or their dad or their brother or their sister that's older than them out there getting to do it. Then they might graduate up to where they're getting to run the iron and the branding maybe. And that's what they do to contribute to the team. And we've got some kids that do that now on the adult teams, but they never really had their place where they could go compete against the kids their own age and actually go do it and throw the loops and, you know, do the sorting and all the stuff that you see the adults do. And so I think what we've opened up now is that direct channel where kids can start out and they can learn, they can grow into some things they're going to do as kids. And then they're going to go hopefully become the next generation of those adults that are competing at the Ben Johnson days here in a few years. You know, how cool is that going to be to see maybe a kid that won the youth world championship have a chance to ride in and win the world championship? That's going to be an awesome day right there, gentlemen.
For sure.
That's going to be a great day right there. I can't wait for that history to happen.
Yes,
Lehman,
sir.
That's going to be a good one.
That's coming. What about the fans, Lehman? I know you get probably a lot of rodeo fans and probably just a lot of ranching families that just want to come see how they do it, you know, and watch them do what they do on a daily basis, but watch them compete for money and stuff like that.
It's a popular, we're going to call it a sport. Okay. Let's use that word because I don't believe that it's not a negative word. We like to consider ranch rodeo in our world, these are real ranch cowboys. But I think Cody, Jimbo, I think we can use the word sport.
Well, they're competing for real money.
Right.
They are competing
And
for
it's a
money.
serious deal.
Yeah. And they are athletes. Okay.
Right.
And don't kid yourself. Both the horses and the cowboys, they are athletes. And we may not look at it as a traditional sport, but from the outsider, an individual that likes action, they're not, say, from the ranching community, you know, maybe they look at it as a sport. It's something that, you know, catches their eye. So we're fortunate, I think, to have a good cross section of the people that are from the ranching world. This is what they do as a family. You know, this is a lot of times their vacation time. That sounds strange because they work all week and then they're going to load the trailer up and they're going to go compete at a ranch rodeo. That's their getaway time. That's the time that the kids get to go play with their friends that they may not get to see every day. That's where mom and dad can, you know, reminisce and sit around the trailer with their friends that they don't get to see every day. And then you take the whole other audience of people that are not part of the ranching community, but they like to go watch people compete in this sport. And so we have the best of both worlds. And when you go to Ben Johnson days, you're going to see that. You're going to see the working ranch cowboys come out of the woodworks. They're going to come off the ranch and they're going to come in there and they're going to get to see their friends. They're going to shop at the trade show, Cody, and they're going to buy some gear that they need. And then you're going to look down the row and you're going to see a family sitting over there, husband and wife and a couple of kids, that they are there to be entertained and to get to be a part of this lifestyle that to them is like, it's this myth world that you see on TV. And so what a cool cross section that an event in Pawhuska, Oklahoma can capture both of those. And then hopefully we get to see them come to Amarillo for the world championship and they get to be in the same thing, get to come to a safe place. They get to be around people that they can respect. They get to watch a rodeo of cowboys that, let's just call it right, they do it the right way. You're not going to see anybody kneeling. You're not going to see anybody with their hat on during our national anthem. And you're going to pray to God and you're going to tell him, thanks for allowing us to do this. That's what you will see in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. That's what you're going to see in Amarillo, Texas. And we are so proud of that.
Well, you should be. And they're also going to see cowboys competing like they've maybe never seen anybody compete before. I mean, these guys might just get one chance all year to show what they can do, in front of their little brother and their girlfriend, their wife, and everything. And it's they really try hard. There's a lot of try out there.
It's highly competitive, highly competitive.
Hey, Lehman, for everybody that hasn't been to Amarillo or don't know what that's like out there when you have the World Championships, could you give us just a quick recap of what goes on out there that week?
Absolutely. So first thing I'll tell everybody is go download the WRCA mobile app. Just wherever you get apps or wherever you get those, just search WRCA, download our app, and then make sure you go out and just visit WRCA.org. Those two sources are going to give you all the information you need to know, schedule, etc., all that stuff. But from a 10,000 foot view, you're going to have the Ranch Rodeo. That's 4 performances: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, evening performances. Sunday is a matinee, 2:00. And we have a 2 go-around rodeo. So Thursday and Friday is 1 go-around. Saturday and Sunday is the 2nd go-around of the adult, or, the regular Ranch Rodeo. Then Saturday afternoon at 1:00, you're going to see the Youth World Championship Ranch Rodeo. Those are the 5 performances you can go to that are of Ranch Rodeo. Then while you're here, you're going to get to see our Ranch Horse Association Ranch Horse Show. You're going to get to see our Youth Cow Horse Championship. Those are some other elements that if you enjoy watching good cowboys and good horses, you can go watch those. There's no charge for that. It's free to the public. And then just like in Pawhuska, if you want to come buy good cowboy gear, we have about 100,000 square foot of trade show shopping space inside the venue that we hold our event in. And it's some of the best shopping you're going to get in our world. Many folks will say they would rather come here to shop than, out at the NFR. And we're not knocking our friends at the NFR, but we're very proud of the trade show we put together. So the best craftsmen and women that you have in the market sharing their wares with you, so you can come shop. We've got a cowboy church on Sunday morning. We welcome everybody to come take part in that. And then outside of all those things, we mentioned our foundation. While you're here, you can help us raise money to go towards our crisis and scholarship programs. But we have an auction that's held Saturday morning. Great time to fellowship and see your friends and to sit there and get a chance to bid and buy on some really neat products that range everywhere from hand engraved guns all the way down to jewelry and headstalls and trips to go hunting elk and all sorts of things that you can take part in. And so what we pride ourselves on in Amarillo, Texas, is when you show up in town, you're going to be immersed in everything WRCA. And we just welcome you to come be a part of a really great event that, kind of showcases what this cowboy world's all about.
Sounds like a great time, doesn't it, Jimbo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like a great time. I haven't made it out there for it yet, but I'm planning on going this year. We had to go
We
to
need you,
Grandpa's
Cody.
induction this year.
Yeah.
November 10 through 13, should say those are the dates, November 10 through 13. And tickets actually go on sale June 1st. And let me tell you, that first week of ticket sales is aggressive. It's
the
a
hottest
busy
ticket
time.
in the state of Texas that week. I can tell you that right
It's
now.
hot. Yeah, it's hot.
Wow.
Well, Jimbo, you got anything for old Lehman today?
Well, just appreciate him taking the time to visit with us today. And I'd like to thank the WRCA for doing what they do to keep our Western heritage alive and give these guys a place to compete and showcase their skills. And I just encourage anybody out there listening to this to go out when there's one of these rodeos nearby them, to go out and support, because it's a great deal. Their foundation's a great deal too, and the help, the work that they do. And it's just a really great organization all the way around.
The Western way of life at its best right there, Jimbo.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, Lehman, do you got anything for anybody else you need to tell the world right this second?
No, I think the thing that I would just close up with is we appreciate the opportunity to come on and be with you guys today and talk a little bit about what WRCA is and how it works. And let's make sure we push everybody to go to the Ben Johnson Days, June 17 and 18 in
Yep.
Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Get
We're
out
gonna
there
have
and go to
Adrian
this
Brandon.
event, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lehman.
No, I'm just trying to say, get out there and get your tickets to Pawhuska. It's going to be a great event. I get to come back this year, so I'm excited.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you and everybody else there this year. June 17th and 18th, right here in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Ben Johnson Days, WRCA Ranch Rodeo. We got Adrian Brandon, the Buckaroo Girl, going to be there. We got the Junior Ranch Rodeo going to be there. We got the John D. Israel Cowboy Trade Show going on at the same time. It's going to be a heck of a deal.
Yes,
It's going to
sir.
be a heck of a deal, and we'll see everybody there. Lehman,
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
thank you for coming on, and thank you guys for riding for the brand out there. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody next week right here on the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum. Thank y'all.